All right, here we go again. We have an exciting project that we're going to be starting today, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. There's a couple ways of going about it, but I'll show you the way that I decided to do this, and then we'll go from there. So this is going to be the first template. When we open up the new document, this is the first time we're going to change our template that we're going to work with, and I'd like you to call this cartoon underscore and then your last name, and then if you want to put in our class, that would be great. Put in DA10 just in case things get mixed up. For the profile, we're going to set this one up so it's going to be shared on the web. So we're going to click on web, and where it shows size, go with the largest size that's available. Yours might be 1024 by 768 or 1280 by 800. So that's we're trying to get the a high resolution screen size. It doesn't really matter, but that's what I went with. When we go down to the bottom, we can click OK, and then you're going to have your template. So I'm just showing you what your template's going to look at like. Now I'm just going to walk you through this part to get set up on this page. The first thing you need to do is you're going to have to get a photo of yourself. And at this time in the class, if you need to go with a partner and find a spot in the school where you have fairly good lighting, and you just have to get a nice photo of yourself. It doesn't have to be a perfect photo because you are going to be turning it into a cartoon, and at the end you won't even actually see the photo. You just need a good footprint to work off of that shows all of your facial characteristics. Now if you aren't comfortable taking a picture of yourself, then you can go online and find a picture of a famous person and use that image as well. Now again, make sure it's a fairly good quality image, and try and get an image where you find someone that has some pretty good facial expressions, or they have just, you know, a face that has some pretty good character to it. It seems to make for an easier project. But I'd love to see you do one of yourself. That'd be a great keepsake, and then you can also use it as one of your faces when you're putting an avatar on any of your social sites, or if you're just needing a picture of yourself without showing your real picture. Okay, let's get started. So I'm just going to flip over to the next page. So this is what you're going to start with, and then after you're finished, you're going to open up your picture, and you can see this is my actual template that I'm working on, but my picture is way bigger. But that's okay. It's okay if it goes and it extends outside the boundaries. I just manage my picture so my face would be centered in the middle. I did put a little bit of my clothing. I decided to add that. The puck and the hockey stick on the wall will be gone, and so will anything else in the background. So you just want to get a picture where, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you can see mine's not perfect, but it's something to work off of. So now that you have it, I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of where you're going to get to. So right now you can see that's the original, and then as you work, you're going to fill in, and you're going to put in using you're going to be over here, and you're going to be using the pen tool. You're going to be creating all these shapes and designing and using shading to get all the different parts of your facial features, and if you want to add your clothing, you can. So I'm just going to open up this layer. Everything was done in this one layer, and like we talked about before, everything inside a layer is layered. So if I was to move, say, my eyes to the back, then you wouldn't be able to see them that well. So I'm just going to zoom in now so you can see how this was all done. And I'm going to go from here, and I'm just going to pause for a second. I'm going to remove all the layers, and then I'm going to discuss the steps that you're going to go through. Okay, so there's a very, very large head of myself. You will be very uncomfortable, just as I am, looking at yourself at this magnitude, but it's essential for this project, so deal with it. All right, we're going to go through, and the first thing you want to do is just remember that you're working in layers. So think about working on your base layer first, and then you're going to be working off of that base layer. If you think of it with makeup, that might be one way of thinking about it, but essentially you want to put in your main skin tone and your main hair color, and then you're going to work off of that. So when you go to start, you're going to go over to the pen tool, and then for your first layer, you're just going to make your way around. I'm just going to start this on a different layer, so I'm not working off of my project. Okay, so we're just going to click and go all the way around, and I'm going to get my ear, and I'm going to go all the way around my face to get this outside layer. So I'm going fairly quick here, so it's not going to be great, but it's going to give you an idea of what we're doing. And I'm also going to show you the best way of picking your colors. See this here where it disappears? That's going to happen at times. Don't worry about it, because you can go back and adjust your anchors after you're finished. So say right here I didn't get my anchor right, I didn't get up high enough, I can just leave that. But again, the most important thing is, remember, you have to close off any shape, so you got to go back to your original spot. That's a mistake that a lot of people make, is they'll get here and then they'll finish it off, and then they'll run into some issues. Alright, now I'm going to go to the direct selection tool, and I can click on one of these objects, and then you can pull them and get this exactly the way you want it. So you're going to move it and get it to the positions on the face that you would like. And if you want to zoom in, if you have some spots that you want to work off of, I'll grab the whole thing. Okay, you can move it out. Now sometimes these Bezier handles, they'll show up sometimes, and they can be useful if you want to make some curves, but it's not really essential for this project to use that tool. So you can go around and just fix up anything that might be a bit off. Over here, like let's say we did this, we went around and we made it too big. Then all you want to do is you just want to pull in that whole section so you can see your skin. And then, so I want to make sure I'm past my hairline here and get it right out so I can see what I'm doing. And then you can go back and fill in the spot. So I'm down to my skin colors, and then I'm going to go flush up against the hairline again. All right, so we got our first layer, and then we can work from there. So that's where you're going to start. That's going to be your bottom layer, and then after you're finished with that, you could go to your hair. Now, when you do this, you are going to be working in sections, and when you have something selected, so right now I have this this layer. I'm not necessarily going to want to be able to see, I'm going to want to be able to see through this layer. So what you can do is go down, select the layer that you want to change the opacity on. Make sure you have the selection tool selected, and then up here we have the opacity. So you can change these at any time. So maybe you want to just take that and fade it out. You have it, and you can always go back and get it. That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is to leave it and just turn it off. Now we can go to working on our next layer. So your next layer is going to be over top of that. So I'm going to pretend I'm doing another layer, and you're going to zoom in even closer, and you're going to find different shadings. So you can see here on my face we have some different shadings. So around my nose here, you can see that the colors change. On the one side of my face, you can see that it changes. So you're not drawing in the eyes, drawing in the nose, you're working with shapes. So I'm going to go up and click on the pen tool again, and I'm going to select this section right here, because it's a little bit more of a red color on my face than it is on the rest of the face. And I'm going to click on it. Okay, I'm going to go up here, make my small adjustment. Okay, and another great thing, instead of having to pick your skin tones here, just use the ones off your face. So you have to create your shape first, then after you create it, go over to the eyedropper tool, and then pick a tone that's really close to that spot. You might even have to move your piece out of the way and get the skin color that you want. So I want kind of something like this. And as you pick on there's all these different pixels. You can see the pixelation down here. They're all different shades. So find one that you're happy with, and then you can move your section or your vector shape back into place. So that's how you do it. So I'm going to just pause here. I'm going to go back to my shape, and I'm just going to have a quick run through the process I went through step by step until you see the finished product. Alright, I just sped up this part of the video so you can see the progress that I went through, starting from the base and working my way up. And as you watch it, you also notice that when you start with the base, it really doesn't look like much. But once you start adding in the creases, the shadows, the wrinkles, it really starts to bring the entire project together. Okay, so there you have it. I've taken you through the entire process. Some of my final changes, I might go back and modify it. I think I could still do some more work on my eyes. There's a little bit more detail I could put into my clothing. It looks like the hoodie actually blends in too much with my shirt, so I could do a little bit more of a modification there. But this took me probably 2 hours to finish in total, so that's kind of a good estimated time. And then once you're done, you can remove the bottom layer, and then you can see what the final product looks like. So the last thing I had to do, I showed this to my wife, and originally she said that I looked too young, so at the end I added some wrinkle lines to make me look more age appropriate. And other than that, I'm pretty pleased with it. So I hope you guys enjoy this project. It is one that you have to be patient and you gotta take your time, and you're going to be using the selection tools and the pen an awful lot. And don't forget to use the eyedropper tool. It's very helpful when selecting your colors. All right, have fun.